In today's video I will be talking about feeding your hydrangeas, because this is very important if you want your hydrangeas to have beautiful full flowers. So let's get started. Okay, what you will need for feeding your hydrangeas, we'll need a good feeding. This one is definitely the best, highly recommended, but the red one if you can't get your hands on this. Gloves, we need some garden fork, we need some water. The water we'll be using is just basically rainwater. There's nothing better than rainwater. The water from the tap is not as good as rainwater, so make sure you use the rainwater for any plants in your garden: roses, hydrangeas, camellias, anything. And then we need some soil. This soil is special soil for hydrangeas. All we need is protective layer on very top of on your hydrangeas. So first we're gonna feed it, and then we're gonna water well, and then we're gonna basically put thin layer of good quality soil, which is special for hydrangeas. So that's all. Okay, the best feed for hydrangeas is this one, Substral. Ideally, if you can't get hands on the red one, so the box looks exactly the same as this one, it's just red, it's the best out of the best feed for hydrangeas. So this one, there's new ones nowadays, and this one is working for 6 months. So you use it once for a season, it's releasing slowly over nutrition to your plant. Really good. I have to recommend that one for sure. It's obviously not sponsored video. You use basically 30 grams of granules around the size of your plant, and the best time to use it, there is a measurement cup for 10 grams in here, but you're using 30 around your plants. And then this is how it looks like. As I said, all the granules, all the vitamins, minerals are releasing slowly to the plants, which is ideal, rather than, you using it once and that's it, or very often. This one is the best feed you can get with all the nutrition your hydrangeas needs as well. So if you can get your hands on this, highly recommend it. And so yeah, this is the best one. You want to feed your hydrangeas basically at the very beginning of April, when your plant is coming back to life, and you're gonna give it the best start you can for the summer. So highly recommended as the best feed for hydrangeas. Okay, the weather is not great, but it's actually good for feeding your hydrangeas. So this is what we're gonna be doing. Why? Because it's a bit wet. It's just been raining a little bit, so it's actually, the soil is quite wet, and will be good for feeding your hydrangeas now. So we're gonna do that now. In my garden, I've got the same type of hydrangeas as you can see in here in a row. We've got the same type of hydrangeas, different color. So this one in here, this one is obviously a pink hydrangeas, which I just basically planted in March, so probably 2 weeks ago. And this one is white one, so the only difference is the same type, it's just different color. And this one has been planted last summer in June, and obviously it needs pruning now, and I'll show you how to do it properly. As you can see in here, we've got some flower which is completely dry out, and it will be easy to see on a young hydrangeas how to prune it correctly, because basically you can see through it. Okay, our hydrangeas are not has been pruned. As you can see, it's nice juicy buds everywhere, leaves healthy. It's a really healthy plant. As I said, this one, it's only 1 summer old, but it's beautiful, nice green juicy ones, and we've got already, we can see where the flowers will be coming out, like here, and so it looks really nice, and will look really incredible come summer. So we've got on whole side, we've got pink and whites coming through. So now we're just gonna feed it, and we'll be ready for summer. Hydrangeas of moped hydrangeas is easy to recognize which one you've got in your garden, because it's growing on a last year grow, so on a last year stem. So this one is a dead head, as you can see, a dead flower head, and it's growing on the one from last year. This one is one thing, as you can see, one stem, and has nice juicy new grow in here. That's one stem in here from the ground, as you can see, and on the same stem you've got dry flower head, which we need to cut out. So this is definitely garden hydrangeas. Okay, before we're gonna start feeding our hydrangeas, I just quickly wanted to say a little bit more about the feeding I'm using. This one, of course, there's loads of feeding to choose from for hydrangeas and for all other plants which needs, you know, that pH of soil completely different than normal plants you've got in the garden. So this one is definitely one of the best top feeding for hydrangeas. If you can't get your hands on this one, I would strongly recommend this one. Of course, this company make few different types, and there's one better than this one, and has basically a red instead of blue, it's red. So definitely would have recommended the other one, but I couldn't get. I asked my friend to buy me this one, and they got the wrong one because I preferred the red one. But this one will do the job just fine. So this one is 2-in-1, and it's you just feeding your hydrangeas once per season, so it's gonna work for 6 months. You don't want to overfeed it. Well, just remember, you don't want to overfeed your hydrangeas. So this one will gonna last you 6 months once you do it, and you feed your hydrangeas. So you don't want to be feeding them again in, like, let's say 2 months. So just be aware of that. Don't mix different feedings. I would say if you want to try a different one, use it, but then don't use something else straight after, or don't use 2, or don't mix them for sure. I had really the best results after using this one. So with the most important information here, you want to be using 30 grams. If you've got one in let's say in a pot, you want to use between 15 to 60 grams per hydrangea. So just be aware of that. If you have very young hydrangeas, so let's say 1 year old, 1 summer, or let's say you took cuttings from hydrangeas, you don't want to be using 30 grams, you want to use 15 grams. So you don't want to be using whole dosage, which is 30 grams. So just be aware of that as well. That's very important. Otherwise you're gonna overfeed or kill your hydrangeas. So this one, if you want to know the science behind this, and the same is for feeding the roses, rose feed, they do them for 6 months. Why? Because they make them in granules, and once you put them and use your feed, you need to water them well, your plants, and that will work for 6 months, because the feed gonna soak in your roots of your hydrangeas slowly over the time, and will basically see how your plant doing, and it will have a bit of pressure from the sunshine, a bit of pressure from the wetness of the soil, and that will impact release of feed. So that's how this works, and it's working well, definitely. So they worked out. It will obviously last you for 6 months, and then will definitely give you, in here you got all the nutrition your hydrangeas needs, so everything they need. Once I feed my hydrangeas, I like to use a little bit of hydrangeas soil on top, so we know that this gonna be you know, all the nutrition from this will go into the soil. I will water it well, and then I'll put a protective layer of good soil for hydrangeas, so it's basically protected from the birds and everything else. So I will show you in a second, but that's what we're gonna do. So let's go and feed our hydrangeas. Okay, in here I've got the soil for hydrangeas. So what I'm gonna do, you can buy them obviously anywhere. So this is for hydrangeas, any basically plants which like this type of soil. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna feed my hydrangeas, water them, and then put a light layer of this soil. This hydrangeas in here is quite young, so it has only 1 summer, and basically had the flowers last summer in June, and now we've got April. This is the first time I have pruned hydrangeas, and because it's quite young, I'm just gonna use 20 grams instead of 30, but from next year I'm gonna be using 30 grams per plant. Okay, what I wanted to mention as well, that we're gonna feeding our hydrangeas straight after pruning them, and we're supposed to prune them in April, beginning of April. So let's say if you're pruning them beginning of April 1st, you can basically feed them 2nd of April, or you can basically prune them 1st of April, and straight after pruning you can definitely feed them. So no much difference, but you want to always do it after you pruned your hydrangeas. So that's what we're gonna do now. This one is quite young hydrangeas because it has only one summer, so I'm gonna use 20 grams instead of 30, but usual dosage of the feed is 30 grams per grown hydrangeas, which is well established. This one is not that established, as I said. It's quite young, just 1 year old, so I'm gonna use 20 just to be on a safe side. I've got 10 grams in here, but we're gonna be using 2 of them. The most important thing is about feeding your hydrangea is that you can't just throw it in the middle. It doesn't work like that. You have to just basically imagine where the roots are. So you want to basically feed your hydrangeas all the way, or cover that area of a rooting area basically. This is going straight to the roots to make them strong, and obviously help the flowers later on. So you want to you want to help your plant as much as you can. So we're going to be spreading this all over the rooting area. Okay, I have spread it 10 grams, and that's another 10 going in. Okay, now we have fed our hydrangeas. What we're gonna do, we're gonna use a garden fork, and we're gonna basically mix our feeding with the soil, but very gently, because we don't want to break the roots of your hydrangea. So this is very important. You're gonna do it very gently. Just mix it all together. With the hydrangeas, to be on an extra safe side, because hydrangeas, don't forget guys, hydrangeas got sometimes green stems coming straight from the ground. If you've got them, I did check my hydrangeas, if you do have them, you better not be using a fork. You better use a glove and basically with your hand mix the soil with the feed. With the fork, there's definitely a higher chance that you can break the roots, or you can break those brand new ones coming out straight from the soil, and you don't want to do that. And with a glove we're going to be doing it just to be on a safe side. Okay, we fed our hydrangeas, but if you see still some feed around your hydrangeas, that's completely fine, that's okay. As I said, we're gonna now water our hydrangeas with rainwater, and after that we're basically gonna put a little layer, thin layer, protective layer of the soil for hydrangeas. So don't worry about it. The layer of the soil is just to protect the hydrangeas and protect that feed. So on top of it is gonna go a thin layer of soil, which is gonna protect your hydrangeas from basic birds eating it up and from a wind blowing it, and it will stay as it is, and it slowly will release. So don't worry about that. And this is our hydrangeas properly fed. Okay, in here I've got hydrangeas, cuttings of hydrangeas actually, so I have added some feeding in here as well, because they are only cuttings, not even a young hydrangeas. I only use 5 grams per pot for those hydrangeas. You don't want to overfeed them, and they are too young to add 30 grams. You would have probably killed it because you would have too strong feed to it. So 5 grams completely sufficient for pots like this. If you want to see how to take the cuttings of hydrangeas, it's very easy. There's already a video on my channel, so you can have a look, but it's very easy to do, and especially if you live in UK, it's easy to do. Yeah, I forgot as well, but I've got camellia in here, and basically I have this year, I don't know, 2 weeks ago I have put that in, so it needs the same feed as hydrangeas, and because it's so young, and I put that in basically 2 weeks ago, I have just used 20 grams of the same feed which I use for hydrangeas. Okay, that's everything in this video. I will see you in my next one. If you want to see how to prune hydrangeas, there will be a separate video on this, and how to feed your roses, I will show you as well. We'll see you in my next video, my garden in May.